Hello class. Today we're going to be discussing the crop tool. So the crop tool is a very important tool that allows you to select an area of an image and remove or crop everything outside of the selected area. This can be useful for improving the composition of an image or to remove unwanted objects on the edges of your picture. So to start, we're going to be downloading our example photo for this lesson, which is the peaceful outdoor reading scene by Inadoro. We'll then open this image in Photoshop by navigating to File and then Open in the top menu bar. Find the image you downloaded probably in your Downloads folder, but wherever your downloads usually go, just find it there and then select Open. So we can access the crop tool by pressing C in your keyboard or by locating the crop tool in the left-hand toolbar. It looks a little bit like the image I posted in Canvas, but it also kind of looks like when you do this with your hands. And so you just want to look for an icon that looks kind of like that, and that's your crop tool. The simplest way to begin using the crop tool is to drag the corners or side of our image to crop it. So you just click and drag with the crop tool and it'll create a square or a rectangle of any sort of shape. And then when we have a crop that we like, we can confirm it by pressing enter or by pressing the check mark in the options bar or select done in the contextual taskbar. And that will crop our image. Unfortunately, by default, Photoshop will delete the rest of the image around your crop. This is called destructive editing, and it's not something we kind of want to avoid, and we'll be going over different ways to avoid that throughout this class. To change this, we simply have to uncheck the delete cropped pixels option in the options bar of the crop tool. So let's revert our image back to how we started by pressing Command Z or Control Z for Windows to undo our last action, which should have been our crop. If you've done more, then you might have to go back a few more steps. Now make sure that you've unchecked delete cropped pixels. And then when we crop our image this time using the crop tool, you'll see that if you try to crop it again, that the rest of our image hasn't been deleted. It's simply hidden from view. The big benefit to this is now you can adjust your crop. If you've noticed that, oh, I cropped it a little too much, you don't have to start all over again from the original image. You can now just adjust it by clicking and dragging out one of the dark the bold white handles at the corners or edges of your crop selection. You can also rotate an image within your crop by hovering your mouse just outside the crop window until your mouse cursor turns into a right angle with arrows at each end. Then when you click and drag, you can rotate your image within the crop window. So one of the things we can do is we can set specific parameters for our crop. And to do that, we can go to the ratio option and select the aspect ratio we want. For example, if we choose square, we will see that a square ratio is applied to the image. No matter how we drag the edges, it will always remain a square. And to clear the crop setting, all you have to do is press clear next to the ratio, and that will reset it. There are many default ratios to match common image crop needs, such as you might see one that's 4:3, which is common old school video size. It's what old YouTube videos are, or different ones. And so feel free to experiment with those if they follow your needs. The next option in the options bar is the straighten tool. This will change the crop tool from a box to a simple line. Wherever you draw the line, Photoshop will then rotate your image to make that invisible line the horizontal, basically the horizon. It'll make it perfectly horizontal. And so it'll rotate the image and then crop it in so it remains kind of like it doesn't have any blank spots. And this can be really useful if you're working with an image that was taken at a slight angle. Like if you're taking photographs and you really want a perfect horizon line, but it's slightly off, you can use the straighten tool to make that perfectly straight. We also have the option to add grids such as rule of thirds or golden spiral to help us consider compositional rules when cropping an image. These guides are not hard rules, but can be useful in creating a visually balanced image. They can also help us if we wish to create a series of images with a certain consistency, such as headshots to use on a company website. You can note where the eyes, nose, or mouth lands on the guides, and ensure that all photos have the same features at the same guidelines. For the submission part of this assignment, I want you to crop the image we've been working with in a dramatically different way than the default framing. Crop one of the people out, or create an image out of the branches or the leaves in the tree above them. Try and crop it in a way that you find kind of visually interesting. And maybe you'll see a little bit about composition when you do that. Feel free to experiment with using like the rule of thirds, golden spiral, or the other grid options to see like how maybe they might affect the composition of your crop. And then once you've saved your crop, then all you have to do is save your image as a PSD and name it according to our naming thing and put it into a folder called assignments within your AVC 177 folder. Uh, hope that you feel like you know the crop tool a little bit better now. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and I'll see you at the next assignment.